Thanks so much for joining me for this year's Holy Grail video. First of all, a very happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you are enjoying the day, relaxing with friends, family, people who you love. And a heartfelt thank you to you for being part of this community, for watching, for liking, for leaving the kindest comments down in the comment section below. And I know many of you are new here, so thank you so much for joining us. Wishing you just the loveliest day. In the past, I've done a video like this where I talk about my Holy Grails, especially on this day because there are so many sales happening. And if you ever wanted to try these items, so many of them are on sales. Not all of these brands go on sale, but sometimes you can get either extra bonus points or some kind of incentive system depending on the store that you shop at. Chanel is one of those brands that rarely, if ever, has been on sale. I will try my very best to list all the promotions that I can find that apply to the items that I will be talking about today. So hopefully if you have been here a while, these should be very familiar to you. They shouldn't be things that you've never seen me use before. They're things that I use pretty much all the time, including this Sublimage Eye Concealer by Chanel. It is the one I have been pulling for ever since I got it, and I'm so impressed with it. Every time I use it, I measure other eye concealers against this, and there isn't anything that competes with this because a little goes a long way. You can have a really perfected look if you want, or you can thin it out to look a little bit more natural. And it has some kind of technology in there that has just the slightest reflective quality. It's not sparkly or anything like that, but it has a skin-like appearance to it. And I do not set my eye concealers because at my age, I feel like if I put powder down there, it's going to look like makeup. So I don't want it to look like makeup, so I don't powder my eye concealers. I look for something that doesn't require powdering, and this is one of them. And it might depend on your skin type under there. I have a normal skin type under there, nothing too oily or dry either, just normal. That might be one of the reasons it works really well for me. Oh, I forgot to mention what constitutes a Holy Grail to me. So Holy Grail product is something that outperforms other products out there. It has very few to any competitors. So these are products that I have a lot of experience with in different situations, and they perform time and time again consistently at a very high level. And these are the items that I am comparing new products to as I try them out. And I come across some really amazing products, but they might not take the place of a Holy Grail product. So we're looking for consistency over time, and we're looking for exceptional performance that is above and beyond other products out there. Speaking of concealers, you know this one. It's Clé de Peau. It's the only thing that I have found that does an amazing job of covering up hyperpigmentation, especially right here where I have pores, where it's going to be really visible if it's going to create any texture. That is one of the determining factors with this concealer, is that it lays really flat to the skin and it wears really well over time. At the end of the day, it looks the way I applied it in the morning. So nothing funny happens with it. It doesn't get discolored. Some concealers can discolor over time and look off. This one is very consistent. Plus, this one has an SPF component as well as a brightening ingredient. So it's working on the skin to brighten and also protect it. That's why I continue to go back to this time and time again. I use it here though for my dark spots, not under the eye. It's a little too heavy and slightly dry for the under eye area, but that consistency is why it works really well for this area right here. I also use it in the outer corners where it can get kind of watery here just because it's so close to the eye. So I will place it here and it does really well without bunching up. Unless of course I am like crying laughing, then it'll start to bunch up, of course. But any kind of normal wear, it does such an amazing job. I use it to clean up the corners. So base products are really important to me because I feel like everything starts there. And then we've got powders. Well, actually we have one powder. The powder of choice is this one, Chantecaille's Perfect Blur Powder. I have not found a powder that can do what this powder does. Sisley comes really close. I've done a side-by-side. I did a really in-depth spreadsheet on that one to see the differences, and this one just has the brightening power I need to help brighten the front of my face. This is in light medium. It does come in another shade as well. It perfects the appearance of the surface of my skin, so it smooths over those pores and it helps to perfect the appearance of the discoloration as well. So if I go in with concealer, maybe not as heavy one day, I can go in with this and it'll help also color correct a bit because it's got a peachy tone to it, which is really lovely. And I use it, of course, with this brush. Yeah, there's a reason I have so many brushes. You know, I have Holy Grail brushes when I have multiples of them. I have 4 of the Buff and Blur brushes. I have 2 regular size, 2 travel sizes. So I'll use this to powder. I'll use it for my blush. I'll use it for highlighter, bronzer as well. So I'll just kind of clean it off really quickly and then go in with the next powder product. So it's the only one I will take and it works really well. So speaking of brushes, I forgot to mention this brush. I applied the foundation today with this. If I'm looking for something really flawless that doesn't have streaks in it, I will go with this Shiseido brush. So this is also a Holy Grail item, this brush. It's a little bit high maintenance when it comes to washing it, which if you have it, you'll know what I'm talking about because it is so densely packed, but that also is one of the reasons why it's such a lovely application. So it does take a little while to dry, like several hours to dry. So what I do is I will use a solid brush cleaner and make sure it's all the way clean because it does get a little embedded in there if you go too long without washing it. I'll let it dry like this so all the water comes out, and then I'll let it dry on its side so the air can get in there. Yeah, once the water is far enough away from this part of it, I'll let it go dry on its side so it can dry out completely. And that's one of the reasons I have more than one. So when one is being cleaned, the other one can be in use. One other brush that I love that's a Holy Grail that goes with my blush product. I love blush and this makes blush application even better. It's got a tapered shape to it so I can go in like this, the way I like to apply blush, and I'll show you in the demo in the Get Ready With Me how I apply my blush because I have all this concealer underneath that I want to make sure I don't move because I worked so hard to get it in place. So applying it like that really helps. I can't fail to mention a couple of Victoria Beckham products here. We've got Trench, which I've been loving for the under eye area here. Because what this does is it neutralizes this, takes away that redness, does a better job than concealer. This does a nice job of adhering really well to this area. So that's why I use that instead of concealer under that area. So it brightens the overall eye as well, and it makes a big difference. You've seen when I've done an eye look that when I add that, it just brightens the whole eye look. Really powerful, but very tiny step. And then we've got the Victoria Beckham Contour, and this is a product that I didn't think I needed. I wasn't using contour, hadn't used contour in a while. The contour I was used to was something like Kevyn Aucoin, which has a gray tone, like an ashiness to it, as if it was a shadow. And that's the definition of a contour, is to create a shadow. This is like a hybrid of a contour and a bronzer just because of its tone, marble, on me at least, but it works really well as a contour, and I especially like this for my nose because it's very, very subtle. It doesn't look like I've done a whole lot, but you can see there's just a little bit more of a shadow. You can see the definition of my nose. Otherwise, it just looks like I just have nostrils on my face. You can't see the bridge of my nose on camera. I list her on camera as well as any event where photography is happening because it just helps define that. And I also will use it as a bronzer of sorts when this is all I have. It does a really great job. Then this is a newer product to me as well. The brows, this Jones Road in Light Brunette. So many things about this that made me think it wasn't going to be anything I was going to love, starting with the shade Light Brunette. I thought this is not going to be the right shade. It's going to be too light, but it actually works really well. I have it on right now. Another thing I love is that it holds very, very well. I can do almost a brow lamination look. I can get my brows to stand up like this if I want to, and it has amazing hold without adding too much product. So that's one of the things I noticed about brow products that have good hold. They typically deposit a lot of product at one time and then it's just kind of clumpy. So it's very natural looking while still having great hold. So I've got that on today. A couple of styling tools that are holy grails because I thought about this after I talked about how I grow my hair long, that I don't damage it. Another thing I do to not damage my hair is I use a Mason Pearson brush, and that's the only brush I use. Actually, I have 3 Mason Pearson brushes. I have the white one, which is a detangler, and then I have the mixed. So I've got one actually in my travel bag right now, the very small one. I'll put pictures up here. That one's got mixed bristles, including some boar bristle in there. And I actually had a full boar bristle brush that I picked up. There were 2 brushes that I picked up in London, yeah, like 20 some odd years ago. I picked those up and I still have them. That's another way I take care of my hair, is to use a brush that's really gentle on the hair. Of course, the Dyson Air Wrap is something that I'm always talking about, but I talk about it because I love it and it's something that performs consistently and does a really great job of making my hair look really nice. And of course, the Oribe Superfine Hairspray is another item that is just something I have not found a competitor to. I love it because it is super fine. It doesn't weigh down my hair. My hair is heavy to begin with. I don't have many strands of hair, but what I do have is heavy, so I have to be very careful with styling products to not weigh it down. But also, I just need something to kind of keep all the hair in place once I've styled it. So I will go in with just a very light spray of the Oribe Hairspray. And the items that are popping up here, I can change those out. So if I find items that are on sale, I'll be updating those. So it'll take you to a site where the item is actually on sale if I can find it. And do let me know what your holy grails are. I would love to know. Please leave them in the comments section below. But that is it for today's video. So please take care of each other, stay well. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.